Hey there, this is Matt, and today I am talking about, in my opinion, one of the best, more underrated Christmas movies of all time. Easily one of my favorite movies dealing with Christmas, Scrooged. Starring Bill Murray, where Bill Murray did this, he was on pretty much a 4-year hiatus with acting, because he did Ghostbusters, which was a huge hit, and then The Razor's Edge, which I've never seen, but I know he was very partial to, and he got bummed when that bombed. And in between those 4 years, he only had like one appearance, maybe two, and then one appearance in Little Shop of Horrors, and I think a cameo at the end of, I want to say She's Having a Baby. Could be wrong on that. But actual acting had been a couple years, and this film came about, directed by Richard Donner. Yes, Richard Donner. This is after his success with Lethal Weapon. He had done The Goonies. I know him and Bill Murray did not get along on set. I'm not sure what Bill Murray's thoughts on this. For some reason, I want to say it's not the best thoughts, which is a shame. This film did not do the best when it came out. I think Paramount expected this film to be a lot bigger because even during the marketing, they really amped up the Ghostbusters reference. Oh, now he's dealing with a different type of ghost. And I'm sure they wanted those numbers, but this made about 60 million in the US, which is respectable because it cost around 30 million, but I'm sure they found it a disappointment. Won't be the first time Paramount thought of that. Hey, it made some money, but it's a disappointment. But at least this film, it does have a Blu-ray, unlike this film. That still doesn't have a fucking Blu-ray for some reason. I did not get the Blu-ray of this. Maybe one day I will to see what the HD picture is. I think I didn't get the Blu-ray almost out of protest because I remember one time they said there was going to be a special edition of this with features. Because I know they shot a lot of footage that did not make the cut. I'm not specifically sure what that footage was, but there are old interviews with people saying that there was a bunch of footage shot that was never released. So it would have been nice to see those deleted scenes, features from back in the day, interviews. Hell, interview with Richard Donner, interview with Karen Allen, Bobcat Goldthwait. Bill Murray never does interviews. Like the one rare one was for Stripes, and he was in this weird, I think he was shooting Lost in Translation at the time or something like that. But it would be nice to see special features for this, because I think as the years have come on, more and more people enjoy this movie. It wasn't the most loved by critics. That's why when people say, oh, critics love it, so automatically it's good. No, it's not. Critics took a shit on this, but I know I'm not the only one that thinks this is one of the best Christmas movies ever. In fact, this is my favorite telling of A Christmas Carol, of the Scrooge story. I think this is very relevant for today, especially with how Bill Murray's character is a TV network president and how rough business is and how things did get really bad and taking place. Even though this is 1988, it's still a fairly modern setting. And I think of all the Christmas Carol versions, this is the most relevant. It's also a very funny movie. It's very entertaining film. It's got a good heart to it. And Bill Murray does show his acting chops, especially in the finale where he gives this fantastic speech that I did not think was cheesy or corny. I thought was very effective. And it made you smile and had a good heart at the end. But there's also some really funny moments throughout this. Whether it be the very first scene where it's the North Pole and there's terrorists and both sides have guns, the elves and Mrs. Claus, and then these terrorists, and then there's Lee Majors with a minigun. And it's because it's a movie that has been made that we're seeing the advertising for it called The Night the Reindeer Died. And I'm like, I want to see that movie. I want to see The Night the Reindeer Die with Lee Majors, or hell, it could be Chuck Norris or Van Damme, or even if it's Arnold or Stallone with a fucking minigun. I'll see that. And then you first see Bill Murray, and he's like, "Oh my god, does that suck?" Uh, he doesn't say this about that. He says this after the executives show him the Scrooge promo. It's this like $40 million TV movie that they're going to show pretty much across the world on Christmas Eve. And even that idea of taking people away from their family on Christmas Eve to center on this TV show, which gets into a bit of the themes of the movie. And then he shows his promo. Now, before that, he goes, "Now I have to kill all of you." Bill Murray does a wonderful job. I know in real life he seems like a dickhead. He seems like a guy I would never want to talk to or hang out with. But I cannot deny the fact that he's a very talented and funny motherfucker. Hell, I mean, I love What About Bob. I even liked Larger Than Life with him versus Tip Turner, Matthew McConaughey's character. I like Larger Than Life, What About Bob, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Stripes, Meatballs. I like Lost in Translation. There's quite a few movies of his I like. Groundhog Day. This is definitely one of my favorites of his. And he just plays a real scumbag. And he's supposed to play a real scumbag. And he plays it very well. And he shows his promo, where it's like acid rain, drug addiction, international terrorism, and a fucking plane blows up, which, yeah, you never get that away today. Freeway killers. Now more than ever, it's important to remember the true meaning of Christmas. Scrooge, don't miss it. Your life might just depend on it. Although I will admit, if I saw that advertising on a TV or even on a YouTube for an upcoming Scrooge, I would be curious to see what this is about. I would actually watch it. I'm like, acid rain, drug addiction, like the scariest promo ever, Scrooge. I'm like, okay, what the hell is this movie about? Scrooge? What kind of Scrooge? Is this the story of Scrooge McDuck being, his nephew's being killed and he gets raped in the ass and then he goes to Liam Neeson taking revenge and kills everybody with axes and swords? This is a real fucked up version of DuckTales, I'll tell you that much. Is that kind of Scrooge? With the way this promo is? Shit. And of course, some of the executives are not happy, in particular Bobcat Goldthwait. Now, Bobcat Goldthwait, this is when he was doing the voice. Hey, I can't even do it. I can't even try. But he was in Police Academy 2, 3, and 4. He was in One Crazy Summer. He was Burglar with Whoopi Goldberg in this film. And I enjoyed his shtick. I enjoyed what he was doing. Nowadays, he's a director. He directed the Robin Williams film World's Greatest Dad. He directed like this found footage Bigfoot movie, which I have not seen. And he's directed a few other stuff. And he voices his displeasure like, hey, that has nothing to do with Scrooge, and that could steer people, and he gets fired for it. Bill Murray has his secretary played by Alfre Woodard, and treats her like crap, treats everyone like crap. If you can't work late, then I can't work late. If I can't work late, I can't work late. But my son has a doctor's appointment. I don't care. Like, Bill Murray just plays the role so well. Some would say too well. Pretty much showcasing how much of a workaholic asshole scumbag he is. And then you get into the actual Scrooge thing, where he gets visited by the ghost of his old boss. This is after he steals his old woman's cab. He's like, oh, you dropped something. Gets in the cab, steals the old woman's cab. And later on, the promo gave someone a heart attack and died. And he's like, oh no. Oh man. This is such great publicity. And it's horrific, but it's like, I can't help but laugh at his reaction. Sad to say, I think there are some higher-ups who would really feel that way. That's what I mean. This is kind of more relevant than some of the other Scrooges. Like, that kind of reaction, I actually see a lot of higher-ups actually thinking that way. I really do. But he gets visited by his old boss, who's a zombie, some decent makeup. I like when he turns and this little mouse comes out with a golf ball out of the guy's head. And Bill Murray keeps interrupting him while the ghost is saying, oh, you know, I had all of this and money and I had women. And Bill Murray's like, oh, let's be honest, Lou. You paid for the women. But he gets pissed and picks up Bill Murray, phases him through the glass. And for 1988, fairly decent special effects. I don't think they're that shabby. Fairly decent effects. Yeah, not that bad at all. And he's like trying to get out of it, and the guy's arm breaks, and Bill Murray falls, but he's still in his office. And then it's the story of, you know, the three spirits are going to come to visit him. Ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And before then, he's either on the stage of the Scrooge set that is going to be done live when the time comes, so they're rehearsing. And one moment where they have these dancers, and this woman objects, this woman, like, you can see her nipples. And Bill Murray looks at her and goes, Charles Dickens would have wanted to see her nipples. And then ultimately, Karen Allen visits. And Karen Allen is without a doubt one of my favorite actresses. Uh, one of my favorites. She is absolutely up there, Karen Allen. She seems like one of the sweetest people ever at anything she's in, whether it be Raiders of the Lost Ark, or yes, Indiana Jones 4, or Starman. Just always such a sweetheart. Always been a big fan of Karen Allen. Easily one of my favorite actresses up there. She's really up there. She's one of my favorites. And she's one that doesn't get talked about a lot, but, you know, just in Starman and Raiders of the Lost Ark and this. I know there's other films she did, but those are the ones that best come to mind to me. Just sweetheart. Always smile when I see her. Visits Bill Murray. They used to be lovers back in the day. And you find out later what happened. But she's still a sweetheart. And while he's talking to her, there's all this stuff. And a guy has this mouse. Why, I can't get these antlers on. And Bill Murray goes, can you staple it? And then that's also when their hammer's like, will you please hold the goddamn hammering, please? And that's what's the tough thing about reviewing comedy, because comedy is subjective, and I'm not a comedian. So to mimic the dialogue doesn't mean it's going to be funny, but Bill Murray's performance, he does a wonderful job. And great supporting cast. Like I said, Karen Allen, Alfre Woodard, David Johansen, who I remember he did that song, Light it hot, 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 da 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 da. You're on fire. And he was in another film called Free Jack with Emilio Estevez. Apparently, Sam Kinison was up for that role, but I guess David Johansen knew Bill Murray, so that's how David Johansen got it. But that would have been interesting to see Sam Kinison in that role. But David Johansen, David, I can't remember his fucking whole name now. David Johansen, he did a good job. Carol Kane as Ghost of Christmas Present. Robert Mitchum, he's in there for a little bit as the head of the network. Michael J. Pollard and Anne Ramsey. Anne Ramsey from the Goonies and Throw Mama from the Train. Michael J. Pollard, who was in I Come in Peace and Split Second and Sleepaway Camp 3, I think. And he's been in a lot of stuff. They show up as a homeless people because Karen Allen works at this homeless shelter, Alfre Woodard, and we see a little bit of her home, and they don't have much money, but they're friendly as a family. The only thing is the youngest is mute, and you find out later it's because the kid saw his dad killed many years ago, and since then he's been mute. So throughout it, the family's trying to get the kid to talk. One joke that I just got, because I had not seen this film in a while, I'm not sure why. I didn't, maybe because I was just put off with, oh, I heard there was a special edition. Oh man, fuck. Yeah, you let me know if the Blu-ray is worth it picture quality wise. I have to pick that up sometime. I don't, this film deserves features. I mean, I don't know why they canceled it. If anyone knows why they canceled it, you let me know. But I was talking about one joke I did not get until today is there's a moment before the Ghost of Christmas Past shows up and weird things are happening and only Bill Murray sees it. And he's at this dinner and he sees someone on fire. And, oh, why would someone help him? He takes something and splashes water on him. And Bill Murray says, you know, I thought you were Richard Pryor. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I'm like, Richard Pryor? What? Why is he Richard Pryor? He's white. I didn't understand later until I saw Richard Pryor stand up and knew more about him. The incident with Richard Pryor set himself on fire. That's what Bill Murray was referencing. And all I did was made that pretty damn funny. Then David Johansen goes to Christmas Past in his taxi cab, takes about 1955 when he was a kid, and how his childhood was shitty. His mom was sweet, but his dad, played by a relative of Bill Murray, was an asshole. Won't even give the kid a choo-choo train. Gives him fucking veal instead. And how Bill Murray's life as a child was based on television. And even David Johansen calls him on it because Bill Murray goes, oh, I did this and I did that. And David Johansen, you're pathetic. That was the Little House on the Prairie. Was that the Homecoming? Yes, it was the Homecoming episode. And then throughout his past, 1968, he first meets Karen Allen, his relationship with Karen Allen as it develops. They're a couple together. And then in the 70s, where he's sort of this mascot on this children's TV show, he's wearing a suit. But the president of the network invites them to dinner. For Karen Allen, he's like, oh, it's Christmas, we're going to see our family. Bill Murray gets mad and goes, but this is a good opportunity. And that's where things split. You know, wanted to care more about the career than the family. And I thought he worked very well with Karen Allen, and you always felt bad for Karen Allen. And visits her at the homeless shelter. That's where he has the bit where, you know, you should think about yourself, you know, instead of just everyone all the time. Sometimes you gotta think about yourself. And that's jumping ahead gets to what this makes this a little bit different from other Christmas carols. It's not just he's being an evil guy, but what his behavior is affecting other people, which when you get to the Ghost of Christmas Future, the worst thing that happens for seeing Karen Allen in a future where she has now become him, where she only cares for herself, and she's rich and posh, and throws away the kids. Because someone told me, you know, one day someone told me, a friend told me that I should look out for myself. And Bill Murray sincerely goes, yeah, I'm sorry. It's a very good, effective heart to it. If I'm getting ahead of myself, I mean, you have the Carol Kane stuff. Carol Kane really did beat the shit out of Bill Murray, from what I understand. Like when she pulls his lip, it tore some stuff in his lip. and was really damaging him and stuff. When she beats the shit out of him. And it's always the type that's being the shit out of Bill Murray's character, kicking him in the balls, hit him in the head, hitting him with a toaster. And from what I understand, some of those empaths really landed on Bill. It pretty much shows him his brother and where they're at, his Alfre Woodard's family and the mute kid, finds Michael J. Pollock frozen to death at that point. And I thought that was a good moment where, again, I think Bill Murray, this is a performance that is not just very funny, but there's a lot of good stuff to it. Where he's like, oh yeah, you're just kidding, huh? And then he starts yelling at Michael J. Pollock, why didn't you just stay there? You know, Carrie Allen's character, was it Claire? I can't remember. For sake of argument, I'll say Claire. You know, Claire would have taken care of you. She would have fed you. She would have given you warmth. Why didn't you stay there? Speaking of funny moments, there's a moment where he sees the Ghost of Christmas Future, and he gets all he's like, come and get it, you pussy. And it's actually the actor that's going to work on the show. And that's sort of the balancing that you have to do with this kind of movie, because you can't do the change. You know he's going to change, but you can't do it too fast, because it'd be hard to buy. You can't do it too slow, because it's like, oh, come on now. Even at this point, you're not going to do it, really? So I thought I had a nice balancing act of him changing his ways. And I like some of the stuff, like the death. It's the Ghost of Christmas Future, but it looks like the Grim Reaper death. Going on all the TV screens. And Bobcat Goldthwait tries to shoot him. He gets in the elevator. And the Ghost of Christmas Future shows him that mute kid going up to be in a mental hospital. Karen Allen turning into him. And then his death, where the only people there are his brother and the brother's wife. And again, I think Bill Murray did a good job acting. Where it's like, don't let him burn me. I'm alive. Don't let him burn me. And then his revelation, I'm alive. Holy shit, what a break. And just a very fun ending where he crashes everything and he gives a fantastic speech. And this really showcases that he could work as an actor. I've seen bits and pieces of The Razor's Edge. And they didn't. One day I will do a Bill Murray marathon. I'll give it a watch. But I don't think I'm going to care for it that much. This, though, shows me he could act. Like the other movies, Meatball Stripes, they're very funny. It shows he's a great comedian. This is the first showing to me that he could be a good actor as well. And I've seen him in other stuff. I like him in Lost in Translation. I like him in St. Vincent. That's a really good one. And he gives this great speech. And this is going on a while, but it's this big, long speech, and you just really see his emotion. And you really go for it, and I bought it. I need a big drink for this because it's a big speech, but I'm not going to do it justice, but I'm going to recite it because it's a great speech he gives. It's Christmas Eve. It's the one night of the year when we all act a little nicer, we smile a little easier, we cheer a little more. For a couple hours of the whole year, we are the people that we always hoped we would be. It's a miracle. It's really sort of a miracle because it happens every Christmas Eve. If you waste that miracle, you're going to burn for it. I know what I'm talking about. You have to do something. You have to take a chance. You do have to get involved. There are people that are having trouble making their miracle happen. There are people that don't have enough to eat, or people that are cold. You can go out and say hello to these people. You can take an old blanket out of the closet and say, here. You can make them a sandwich and say, oh, by the way, here. I get it now. And if you If you give, then it can happen. Then the miracle can happen to you. It's not just the poor and the hungry. It's everybody who's got to have this miracle. And it can happen tonight for all of you. If you believe in the spirit thing, the miracle will happen and you'll want it to happen again tomorrow. You won't be one of these bastards who say Christmas is once a year and it's a fraud. It's not. It can happen every day. You've just got to want that feeling. If you like it and you want it, you'll get greedy for it. You want it every day of your life and it can happen to you. I believe in it now. I believe it's going to happen to me and I'm ready for it. And it's great. It's a good feeling. It's really better than I've felt in a long time. I'm ready. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. And then that little kid steps up. Did I forget something? He's like, God blesses everyone. A nod to Tiny Tim. And I thought that was nicely done. And that's a fantastic speech he did. And he did a wonderful job. A wonderful job getting that emotion out there. And I didn't find it corny or schmaltzy. I found it very effective. And it's a film that's very funny. I liked this, where it took place. There was a TV executive playing it, what he was playing, and throughout this production of Scrooge. And I guess in a way sort of a meta thing. The supporting cast do a wonderful job. Has a good heart and message to it, but it's not hammering it in home. I think that speech is fantastically done. I love the song at the end. You put a little love in your heart. That sends the movie off with a good heart to it and a good soul to it. So you did a very funny movie, very entertaining film. That the cast do a wonderful job. Danny Elfman does the score. It's a score Danny Elfman doesn't get noticed for a lot, but it fit the film very well. Richard Donner, I think, did a wonderful job with this. Richard Donner, this is not the Richard Donner film a lot of people mention. You know, they mention Lethal Weapon and The Goonies and Superman, and for good reason. But this is definitely one that should be mentioned along with them. Scrooged, it's easily one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's one of my favorite Bill Murray movies. I know I'm repeating myself, but it bears repeating. It's a very funny movie that it's relevant today, about not just be good to other people, but don't get in the way of making other people become you. I was saying with that possible future of Karen Allen's character. And to me, this was the first notion that showed that Bill Murray can act. He's not just very funny, but he's a good actor too. The way he sold that ending. Bobcat Goldthwait's a lot of fun. There's Carol Kane, Alfre Woodard. I really don't have any problems with it. I really don't. My only problem is I wish this was a special edition. I wish there was features. I wish there was interviews. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this is a Christmas classic. And it deserves a lot more than it's gotten. So will you please stop the goddamn hammering? And let's get that promo of Scrooge. Imagine if that played in today's age. People would be like, what the fuck's that? Let's go watch it. And put a little love in your heart. Classic film. And a film that, again, did not do the best when it came out. Wasn't in the top 10 hits of the year. I'm sure, again, Paramount was disappointed by the results. Critics did not like it. Roger Ebert, for example, gave it a 1-star review. I'm sorry, I know, rest in peace, Roger Ebert, but a 1-star, but yet I'm supposed to listen to critics for certain movies. Come on now. But yeah, one of the best Christmas movies out there. Deserves a special edition. Thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.